So I love Reason, right? But if every time I have to sidechain a kick, I would have to output the audio, put that into a Spider audio merger and splitter, then split that into whatever I want to sidechain it into, and then put the other side in a mixer, and then actually grab the rest of my channels as well and split that as well, and maybe put that into a mixer somewhere. That will mean every time I have to sidechain a kick to something else, I will lose a minute. So in 60 tracks, that will be an hour. So in how many ever tracks you want to build in your life, that will be a lot of time in total. So this is one of the reasons I recommend you make a template like this, okay? Good afternoon, morning, evening, or night. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dobius, and in this video we will be going over the Reason template that I use. Now this template is not restricted to any style or genre specifically. It is more like a toolkit that you can use so you can focus on the things that matter, like making music, and you won't get bogged down by routing all kinds of stuff that will take you out of your creative workflow, okay? So first things first, my kick and my snare red drum. I use one red drum for my kicks and my snares. So channel 1 to 5 will be all my kicks, 6 to 10 will be snares, claps, you name it. And that goes into, so my kicks go into 5 equalizers, so that will be handy if like I have one sub kick, but I want to layer that with a higher element. Then I can take out the high frequencies from my sub, I can take out the low frequencies from the higher element, right? Alright, so those 5 EQs go into a line mixer right here. That gives me a little more freedom of mixing those separately, and then maybe even adding sounds to the send effects here to one specific sound if I want, or actually a group of sounds if I'd want to do that. And then that goes into, that mixer goes into a drum enhancer that I've built, which I'll link in a separate video, which just has a pulverizer for some New York style compression, tape emulation, a transient shaper, which goes through Kong because that's the only transient shaper that is in Reason by default, a maximizer, and a EQ. Okay, so after that I have, so after that it goes into the actual SSL channel, which you will see here. Good. So for my snares, there will be 6 to 10. They also go into 5 EQs. So one important thing when making a template is naming everything. So this will be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And those go into another line mixer, and those go into a similar kind of drum enhancer, and that goes into a separate SSL channel so that I have separate control over the levels of my kicks and my snares in total. Yeah. So after that, I have a hi-hat red drum, or a hat red drum that I use for my hi-hats, open hats, cymbals, you name it. Those channels 1 to 10 go into another 10 equalizers. So there's actually two benefits to using equalizers, to putting them all through equalizers first. Of course, you can equalize them, but let's say I want to have a soft tube amp on just the number 3 of my hi-hats. I can put that in here and it will be routed automatically, and I won't have to output it here first and then split it and all that kind of jazz. Okay, so that goes into another line mixer, and that goes into the same drum enhancer. Then I have one last red drum that I use for my percussion, so that will be toms, maybe some effects, other percussive elements, blips, plops, you name it. All right, and that goes into a similar chain as the hi-hats go into. Now one last thing, I have my kicks and snares all set up here, but I have them side chained as well, at least a few. Okay, so I have it set up here. I have my kick number 1 and 2, so I can sidechain one, just one, or I can sidechain 1 and 2. Then I also have my snares, so that if I want, I can sidechain my kicks and my snares to something else. And next to audio, I'm also able to sidechain CV, because then I take the gate out, right? You get the gate out of your CV right here, and then you put that into a Spider CV merger and splitter, so that if you have, let's say you use the sidechain reactor, that's what it's called, right? Yeah, the sidechain reaction enveloper. I'll show you real quick. That uses CV as gates, which is a great device, by the way, but I'll make another video about that someday. So yeah, I have all of those sidechains, so that whenever I do want to sidechain something, it's just, I can quickly right mouse button something, and then it will route. So I'll show you, if I right mouse button here, got the side chains, and I can route my kicks straight without having to first split everything, route everything. It just takes time, and again, it'll take you out of your creative workflow. Okay, so that's it for all the drums. Next up is a small combinator I have all set up, which you can save separately as a combinator if you'd want, which is simply a combinator with a line mixer and an instrument in it, and an EQ, but it's up to you if you want to put that in there by default. So the thing is, why do I put it in a combinator? Why do I put a mixer on it? Let's say I drag an instrument in Reason, okay? I just drag it in here. Excuse me. So what it'll do is it'll make a mix channel for me, an SSL mix channel for me. And then if I play this, you got sound, right? Great. Now let's say I want to have another layer to that. I want to have an electric piano underneath there. And I play this. No sound because it doesn't get routed. Because it doesn't get routed into a mix channel automatically if I hold on shift. But I want to play these two at the same time, right? So if I put them in a mixer, as I do here, so I will add this underneath here, and I put it in a mixer. And then I grab the electric piano, and then I don't play the electric piano. Oh, I don't play the electric piano, but I play the combinator, which will combine those two sounds, and it will actually send all the MIDI that I played into both sounds. So it plays in both. So that's why I like to have a little combinator that just does this for me, and I can save it and I can drag it in whatever I want. So if I want to layer my sound, I won't be busy again routing stuff up. It will all be set and ready for me. All right. Next up is a recorder that I have. So it's an audio recorder, which I use to record multiple layers of audio at once. So to bounce multiple layers of audio at once, because I can right mouse button. You can right mouse button anything in Reason, and you click bounce in place, and it will actually bounce the thing to a WAV file or to like an audio file in your Reason, like this. But what if I want to have the piano here, but I also have like some hi-hats right here, and I want to bounce them both at the same time? So let me just fill something in here. Let's play some piano here. Super musical. All right, that's not the point. And then I hit record right here. And you can see it recorded both. All right. So how do you do that? You go into your master section first, and you make sure you hit record source. And then when you go back to your sequencer and you have your little, what do you name it? And you have your audio track. It's an audio track. Yeah. If your audio track set up there, you can hit stereo input, and then master section will show up here. So if you don't have that set up, if you don't have record source set up, let me turn that off. Then you can't actually select that. So it can only record things that has the record source button turned on. I'll show you any mix channel has that button. So here, record source. So if I want, I can record my kicks, but I put it on my master section. So that means if I want to record my melody and my hi-hats, I just solo these two out. And then if I hit record, it will record those two separately without playing anything else, right? It'll just record what you hear. Simple as that. So that's one way I can bounce sounds real quick. And another reason it's handy is if I want, I can just hit it like this, and then this will be my mic input. So if I have a rapper or a singer over here, I can quickly, I already have this set up, right? I don't have to load up a recorder, get all the settings in there. All right, so that's my recorder. Nearly finally, I have my sub section here, my bass section here. So I have a little Thor set up, which is kind of like an 808, but I usually just replace the actual device with whatever I want to use at that moment. It might be the Thor for an 808, but it might be something else. But what I've done here is I've split the channel. I've sent the output into a mix channel right here, and then I've parallel split it into a second channel. So normally this doesn't do anything because you can see this is bypassed and this is off, right? So, but you see here I have this banded out. So if I unbypass this, this will just be the sub. So this will just be to about 100 Hertz or 99 Hertz. And then this part, so if I bring this in slowly, you can see it here. If I bring this in, it'll be everything above that, so then I can really dirty that up if I don't want to. And it'll have my bass and my sub bass and my bass split without having to again split it and route it, and this will save me time again. So last but not least, I have my reverb bus. So this is a bit of an, I guess, unconventional way of doing it. What I do is I grab my FX sends. I don't know if there's something wrong with this, but it works for me. I have my FX sends. I put those in a mix channel, into the input of a mix channel, and I just put a reverb in there. And then when you want to use that, you go into your sends in your mixer and you just hit send right here. So then if I play this and turn up the reverb, it'll play my reverb right here. Now, why do I put that in? Why do I take it from a send effect and I don't send it to my returns, but I send it into a channel, especially just for the reverb? Is because then I have more control over eventual, like if I wanna, I can compress it. I can use all the SSL, all the SSL options that I have here. And I just like that. I just like the way of working that way. But you can just use sends and returns for that if you want. So be sure to use a send and return, at least for a reverb or some things that you find yourself using more often than once. Okay. So that was about it. One thing about a template, well, a few things is, again, I might have said this already, but name your stuff. Be sure to name everything properly, because then the next time you use it, everything will just be easy. You can find it easily. Color your stuff as well. Just with colors that make sense to you. So for me, kicks are red, snares are blue, hi-hats are yellow. I don't know, that's just how it is for me. It might be all upside down for you, but you know, whatever works for you. Another thing is be sure to make a template that has the tools you need, but it doesn't restrict you, right? So if I don't want to split my bass, I can delete this. No problem. I'll just have this. I can delete these, and you can just put some effects on here if I want, right? I have all my sidechain things set up here, but it doesn't do anything until I actually want to use it. I have my drum enhancer here, but it doesn't do anything until I want to use it. It's bypassed. So you got to see a template as something that will speed up your workflow, but it won't bog you down in any certain style, or it won't make your music repetitive, you know. So if you start hearing all my music starts sounding the same or something, maybe there's something in your template that makes it sound that way. Yeah. So that's about it. If you like this video, if you've learned anything, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to have more technical, in-depth videos, because I want to be making more of these, making more templates, going more into the back of the record reason, and explaining some stuff to you guys for that. So, you know, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. I hope you learned something.